Hey everyone, Alexander back at you with another video. Today we are talking how to light a scene outdoors. Sometimes your client insists that you film outdoors, or sometimes you don't have a choice and you tell your client, hey, look, it's high noon, we don't want to be filming right now, we want to wait for golden hour, and they say, no, it has to happen right now. And then you say, well, look, I'm going to be the one that gets blamed when the footage doesn't look good because you're not going to remember we had this conversation. They say, well, forget it, we're going to film it anyway, let's just do it. You got to be prepared. So today we're talking about how to film outdoors and how to make it look good. All right, let's see. And we are looking a lot better. Today we're going to take a look at filming interviews outside. I'm going to show you the gear I would use if I was filming a one-person interview. I'm going to talk to you about my lighting. I'm going to talk to you about cameras, lens choice, your backdrop, your depth, all the things you're going to want to consider to include audio. So let's go ahead and get it all set up. Talk about precarious. I want to try out this little tripod on the C70 and see how it does. It says it can support its weight, so we'll see. This is a tripod from, what is it from? I don't know, I'll link it in the description, but it's really nice. Carbon fiber, really lightweight, but also very sturdy. So let's go ahead and see what this thing can do. All right, and that fits in your backpack, and I mean, this is obviously not ideal, but it would work if you're on the go or traveling. My first consideration is my angle, my depth. Where's my lighting coming from? Right here I have some shade, which would be a little more ideal for placing my subject. I am going to light the scene, so I want to consider that as well. I don't want to place my subject right in the sun without diffusing it or blocking it somehow, because they're going to be squinting and then you're not going to have control of your highlights. So I'm going to opt to place my subject or myself for this video right here. Another consideration is, where is the sun going to be headed as time progresses? So there's a lot of apps you can use to see which angle of the sun or the direction of the sun based on what time it's going to be during the day. I'm not so much concerned with that today. I'm going to try and have a controlled setting right here because I know this shade isn't going to go anywhere, because the sun's going to obviously go behind the houses here soon. So I'm going to set up right here and I'm going to film the most interesting direction possible. And I think having a little bit of the shed in the background and a little bit of the trees in the background is going to be the nicest angle. Yeah, a lot of clutter, busyness over here, so I like the trees and the shed. Keep in mind I'm also going to want to utilize a lower f-stop. That'll make the background a little blurrier. If you're rolling with a f4 or f5 kit lens, that's okay too. Just keep in mind your background's going to be more in focus and your subject's going to be a little less focused on, if that makes sense. Let's go ahead and get my tripod set up. We will be using the Rode Mic Wireless Pros. These come with a receiver and a transmitter and two receivers. And I've been using them for all my backup, or even some cases primary audio, and they work really nice. I'm way overexposed right now. I'm at 2 stops of ND, I'm at T14, and I'm at ISO 800. That's my camera's base ISO, ISO 800. When you're coming from the mirrorless camera, you're like, man, I'm shooting really high ISO, I don't want my footage to get grainy. Your cinema cameras have certain bases, and it's the optimal base that you want to shoot, and sometimes it's going to be something that's counterintuitive, like a 400, 800, or even higher ISO. For the Canon C400, its first base ISO, because this is a triple base ISO camera, is 800. Right now we're fighting against the light, so we have all of our highlights to consider. And the first rule in lighting and exposure in cinematography is always expose for your highlights. Protect your highlights and then expose for your subject. That's why we have lights. So in this case, I know I'm not going to shoot at T14. I want to shoot at around T2. At that distance where I'm going to be sitting, that's going to give me enough blur in my background, enough depth, and then I'm also going to have most of me in focus. Now maybe like my back of my ears or something might be a little out of focus, but for the most part my facial features will be in focus. And the great thing about the C400 is these two buttons right here. You can control your ND, and there's 4 stops of ND and there's 8 stops of ND. And if we pull up our false color, everything's looking good. There's a little bit of a hot spot on the shed right there, and that's okay. since I don't have anyone here helping me, I'm going to put the tripod case and see if it sits upright. And that's where I'm going to be seated. And I will pull focus. Another tip, if you are filming yourself, just flip the screen around. Now if you hit the mirror button right here, see it's inverted, it'll adjust its orientation. Alright, besides the fact I'm not properly framed here, I'm still very hot, overexposed with the direct sunlight coming in. Obviously not ideal. If you see, if I throw up another ND, that's looking a little better, but still it's not ideal in terms of your exposure. Everything just looks not good. So how do we fix this? Well, we can either block the light or we can scrim the light using some method of diffusion. And I'm thinking I want to wait for the sun to go down, but that defeats the purpose of this exercise. I really don't want to set up a scrim right now, but I think I kind of have to. The purpose of this exercise is to be able to film in any condition and to be able to control the situation. Alright, now we have this full stop diffusion set up, and you can see what the difference makes just from masking out the sunlight just a little bit. I'm a little underexposed, the background is a little brighter than me, and that's not what we want, especially in a production, a professional production. So we need to light the scene. As you get your lighting set up, I always say build one light at a time. If you're outdoors, obviously consider where your light source is coming from and then control it and then build one light at a time. My plan here, my master plan, is to have a one key light and one rim light or hair light. Now let's go ahead and add our key light and see what that looks like. All right, now we have the Aperture 1200 at full 100% power, giving me some key and some fill. So you always expose for the brightest portion of your scene. In this case, it's the sky. As you can see, our highlights are protected. The sky is still in color, it's still blue. All the trees in the background are green. You don't see anything that's overexposed. And I am standing out from my background. If you find your background is engulfing your subject, or your subject isn't standing out or popping or the main focus of your frame, you're doing something wrong with your lighting. And lighting is what shapes your subject, is what makes your subject pop. And for a commercial video where you want your client to be impressed with your work, you want your subject to pop. And lighting is how you do it. While this looks good, we're going to go ahead and even up the game a little more and add a second light and add a little more separation from me in the background. So go ahead, Steph, and strike it. Is that on? Mm-hmm. I don't know if, can you strike it again? About 100. Can you strike it again? And one more time? All right. Yeah, that's your kicker light or your rim light is what adds that little bit of separation from you and your background. It doesn't have to be very, it can be very subtle. You don't want a whole overexposed white line on your shirt. You basically just want a very subtle kicker or a little pop of light that just adds that little separation from you in the background. Now, to further up the production value, you can add a secondary camera, a B camera, and this is something you can easily charge your clients. 2-camera package that gives you just more production value, something a little more interesting than just the same angle the whole time. I have been on sets where we have used a slider or a third camera just to give us a more dynamic angle. But A and B camera is kind of industry standard for these types of interviews, just having something you can cut back to, upping the production value, and also for you or whoever's editing your video, they will have some fallback footage for some times when your client might mess up, or for when you want to cut to B-roll and then cut back to a different scene. and we keep losing the lights because I'm on the same power breaker, and it's blowing them out with this 1200. But I think we all got the point today. We have footage that looks a lot better with just considering your light source, where it's coming from, controlling that light source, that natural light source, and then adding in your own artificial lights.